So hello everyone and welcome. This is Rituals for Sleep, Tools and Practices to Create a Restful Night. And I'm Rose Kress. I'm your host through this journey, the owner and the director of the LifeForce Yoga Healing Institute, and where we're providing you tools for empowerment and tools to manage the ups and downs of life. So welcome everybody. I hope you gain support from this webinar. That is the goal here. So, oops, go back one. So just briefly, why is sleep good for us? Or what are the benefits of sleep? An increase in learning capacity, memory, and logical decision making. It recalibrates emotional brain circuits, which means that a good night's sleep, the amount of sleep that you need, is great for regulating the mood. It restocks the armory of our immune system. It prevents infection. It balances insulin. It circulates glucose, regulates appetite, and maintains a flourishing microbiome. And all of these come from this wonderful book that I'm still working my way through, but Why We Sleep, Unlocking the Power of Sleep and Dreams by Matthew Walker. Lots of really cool science and information in this book. So a little bit of the science. We comment there, I sleep 10 to 14 hours a night. Who else here is jealous of that sleep? So just basics of what's happening when we sleep, or why we need to sleep, the importance of sleeping. So first off, you get some buildup. It's called sleep pressure. And sleep pressure, the longer you are awake, the more of the chemical adenosine, hopefully I'm saying that right, builds up in your brain. So this chemical is what tells you that you're sleepy, and it helps you go to sleep. It's how you know you're exhausted. It's why you get exhausted. And what's so fascinating from the research is that, and this is bad news for those of you that love coffee, caffeine mutes the effects of this chemical, but it doesn't eliminate this chemical. In fact, the only thing that eliminates adenosine is sleep at night. So caffeine really only tricks you to thinking that you're awake, which can be a good or a bad thing. And from my notes on this, very fascinating, caffeine has a half-life, and that's how things are measured in terms of how long they stay in the system. So a single dose of caffeine has a half-life of 5 to 7 hours, meaning if you had a cup of coffee, a single dose of coffee at 12 o'clock, at 5 o'clock in the afternoon or to 7 o'clock in the afternoon, that caffeine is only halfway out of your system, meaning that's 10 to 14 hours for caffeine to completely leave your system. So this is kind of a big piece of information, right? A lot of us are using a lot of caffeine to get through our days. And so if you have that buildup of caffeine, it takes you longer to know that you're asleep. And the caffeine and the adenosine, they're kind of fighting with each other for receptors in the brain. So yeah, sorry to be the bearer of bad news. Caffeine is bad. It's really not good if we want a good night's sleep. The other thing to know about sleep is it's about circadian rhythms. So your circadian rhythm is a biological clock, and it controls your sleep, your preference for eating and drinking, your moods and your emotions, your body temperature, metabolism, and hormones. And your circadian rhythm, each of us has a circadian rhythm. It's about 24 hours and 15 minutes long. about as long as the rotation of the Earth, but not exact. And each of us have a different circadian rhythm. So about 40% of people in the world are early birds or morning types, meaning they are comfortable waking up early in the morning. About 30% of us are evening types, meaning we're the night owls. We like to stay up late at night, which means we rise late in the morning. And then the other 30% are kind of in between types. This is a really beautiful evolutionary function to make sure that everybody in the cave is safe. But what it's turned into, if you're somebody who's a night owl and I'm somebody who's a night owl, the whole world is organized these days around the early birds. So if your circadian rhythm is to stay up late, meaning you sleep late, it means your peak performance time is in the evening, not in the morning, but it's in the afternoon, the evening. And it means that you're still kind of in your circadian sleep rhythms in the morning when you wake up. And so you're not really awake, which means that if you're a night owl, your performance at work is lower than if you're an early bird, which is probably why everything is set up around early birds, because they're the ones that get to set the schedule. So just something to think about if you're somebody who needs to stay up late at night or just naturally wants to stay up late at night. That's your natural rhythm. Go for it. And let yourself be in your natural rhythm as much as you can possibly let yourself be within your natural rhythm. And have no shame about the fact that you like to stay up late and you like to get up later in the morning. You're probably sleeping the same amount of hours, probably less hours when you adhere to a night owl rhythm. I know I tend to be a night owl. And so for me, if I go to sleep at my natural rhythm, which would actually be 1 o'clock in the morning, I get up at 8:30. So I actually sleep less than 8 hours a night and I feel rested. Whereas if I go to sleep at 10 o'clock at night or 10:30 at night, I actually end up waking up at 7:30. And I'm not as rested, even though I've actually slept more time. So that's a perfect example of a healthy circadian rhythm, and to honor your circadian rhythm. So we're talking today about some rituals. So why do rituals help? Well, a ritual is a series of actions. This is just a definition out of the dictionary. It's a series of actions or a type of behavior regularly and invariably followed by somebody. Doing the same things in the same order at the same time supports us in creating an atmosphere for a specified outcome. It's conditioning, right? Pavlov and his conditioning. Do you all know why Pavlov had really soft hair? Because he conditioned it. But sorry, that's really lame. Dad jokes, but it's conditioning. So when we condition ourselves to expect something at a certain time, then our bodies are actually getting ready to receive that. So if we eat at the same time every day, our digestion starts to kick in at the same time every day. If we do meditation at the same time every day, then our minds actually start to calm down because we're preparing, we're getting ready for that sleep or getting ready for that meditation. And if we do the same thing before we go to bed each night, you're setting up a ritual for sleep and preparing yourself. And a lot of the sleep experts talk about setting up nighttime rituals so that you can go to sleep better and that you can sleep at night with ease. So that's what we're here to talk about, is some ideas for sleep rituals. So exercise, diet, and nutrition. Excuse me, I am not an exercise, diet, or nutrition guru. And again, just sharing some of the things that I have seen. Exercise, diet, and nutrition are all prophylactic because we're using them to get us ready for sleeping better at night. So regular, daily, moderate exercise supports sleep. Especially if we can exercise outside under the sun with exposure to sunlight. This can help to train a circadian rhythm to understand when it's daytime. For example, if you travel, and I happen to travel from the West Coast to the East Coast a number of times a year. And I get horrendous jet lag going east. I get little to no jet lag coming west. I don't know why, but I do know that if I get outside and I experience some sunlight, this actually helps me to land better. And the point about that people make is that the sunlight helps to just tell your brain and your circadian rhythm, this is what time of day it is. In addition, that sunlight, especially on the head, helps you to make, and on your skin, helps you to make vitamin D. And vitamin D is important in regulating sleep. It's also important in bone health and even mood health. There's been a lot of research lately about vitamin D supporting depression and anxiety, and vitamin D supporting a healthy immune system and hair growth and all kinds of things like that. I know that I've been diagnosed with MS, and so one of the things that I do to support myself is I take, I think I'm up to 40,000 IUs of vitamin D a day, and this is recommended for MS treatment, is large amounts of vitamin D is recommended for those of us that are working with MS. So Sunlight is good for us. Get it in the morning, get it in the afternoon when the sun is maybe not at its peak and not at its most extreme. So question came in about getting access to this. Yes, you'll get access to this. I will send you, as long as I have your email address and you're on the email list, then I will be able to get you a copy of this. I'll send you a link when it's up on YouTube. So vitamins and minerals really that support sleep, vitamin D, which I just spoke about, calcium and magnesium. So a warm glass of milk before you go to bed is, it really does help. Calcium, the calcium warmth helps. Magnesium, you can get that in the form of a drink, or you can get that in many forms. There's a drink called Calm, C-A-L-M. And it comes in many different flavors, works great. Do not take too much Calm. Too much magnesium loosens your bowels, and so you might go to sleep, but you will be up again shortly after you go to sleep. So start small and then add. Melatonin as an herbal supplement. You can take pills of melatonin to kind of kickstart the melatonin in your brain. Melatonin is like the sleep hormone that says time to go to sleep. And valerian root is another highly recommended herb for sleeping. It is very stinky, so if you happen to get valerian root, just know it's kind of stinky. I remember taking that many years ago, and my husband would say that when he came to bed, that the room smelled like it because it was on my breath. Also, limiting your caffeine intake after 11 a.m. And we talked about why that would be and how that interferes with sleep pressure buildup in your brain, and interferes with releasing sleep pressure. Greens and fruits and vegetables are really good, and a diet rich in vitamin B is also good for sleep. And I'm sure there's many more. There's many other books out there about exercise, diet, and nutrition. And again, I'm just mentioning this here. It is not my area of expertise. Ruben Nyman has a lot of really wonderful information about sleep as well. That includes things like exercise, diet, and nutrition. So Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra is a meditative rest practice. It is done lying down, and you simply listen to a recording of it. And you can find Yoga Nidra Sacred Rest on YouTube, and I can send you a follow-up email. You can find a link to visit that Yoga Nidra page. If you're watching this after the fact, it'll be down below in the description. 30 minutes a day is said to be the equivalent of 2 to 4 hours of sleep at night, and that information just seems to vary. The best time to practice it is between 2 and 4 p.m. So in the middle of the day, you know how you get that kind of energy slump in the middle of the day? That's the best time to practice your yoga nidra, is when you're having that slump. And yoga nidra is a phenomenal practice when you wake in the middle of the night and you can't seem to get back to sleep. So you just pop in your earbuds, or if you're alone, you can just press play on your phone or whatever you use, and just do the practice of yoga nidra. Maybe you'll go to sleep, maybe not, but you'll get equivalent of maybe 2 to 4 hours of that sleep that you may actually be missing. So, some rituals to begin. About 1 to 2 hours before it's time to go to bed. 2 is probably best. Get rid of blue lights. So blue light is the same type of light as the sun. And blue light kind of tells your circadian rhythm that it's time to be awake. So this means no more screen time. So turn TVs, phones, computers, all of those screens, turn them off. I know that there are some gadgets you can get that actually block the blue light emissions from screens. You can get blue blocker sunglasses, right, so that block that blue light out. But TVs, phones, and computer screens, they're not that calming and soothing for the most part. I mean, yes, you could be watching something that's very calming and soothing, but for the most part, they're not. You've got the electronic frequencies that are being emitted that kind of tell us to be more in awake and a higher alert kind of state. So just be mindful of that. So if you're somebody who lives, I just moved to Oregon, and we're through summertime, but it was light out until 10 o'clock at night. And even though we were inside the house and a schedule of trying to go to sleep by 11, I personally didn't find myself even remotely tired or getting ready to shut down for sleep until after 10 o'clock when the sun went down. And it was a little bit, but that's since changed, so it's not as intense as it was for about a month. So the further north you are, the more daylight you're going to experience. So we need to compensate for these things. You can get blackout curtains for bedrooms, blackout curtains for a house, so you can kind of shut down that external light out, and then shifting. And then light bulbs, most of the light bulbs these days emit a blue light. So you have to really work to find some of those old school light bulbs that are just the yellow light and not emitting the blue light anymore, which is a lot easier said than done. You could switch to candlelight or lanterns if you really wanted to. That would help cut down on the blue light, especially if you're somebody who really struggles with sleep. But I'll tell you, sitting in bed, going through your phone when it's time for bed, that is not helping you. That is really severely interfering with your sleep at night. And I think many people have done something like that. I know I have sat there in bed and some thumbed through stuff. It doesn't really help with deep, restful, quality sleep at night. So, using essential oils. So applying an oil like Calmer, Rescuer, or Balance Blend. You can apply these things before you go to bed at night, or 1 to 2 hours before bed. They're Calmer and Rescuer are both roll-ons. Calmer is really nice because it's got lavender and chamomile in it, and so these are two oils that are studied to kind of release and calm and soothe. Lavender, there's actually research on lavender and its ability to calm us down. Rescuer has an oil called copaiba in it, which is a plant from the Amazon, our blessed Amazon, which is on fire right now. There are more reasons than one to save the Amazon. I mean, copaiba would certainly be a reason to save it because that wood is growing there, but also it gives us 25% of the world's oxygen comes from the Amazon. And then, but copaiba is also known to soothe the nervous system because your nervous system can interfere with sleeping at night. If your nervous system is on and engaged, you're not going to sleep as well at night. And then balance blend, which is got spruce, but it's also got frankincense and blue tansy, and both frankincense and blue tansy are known oils for, again, calming the nervous system. I actually like to apply all three of these oils. I do calmer on my forearms, I do rescuer on my neck and my temple, and I do balance blend on my feet. Because it helps me, having had a recent trauma and bad nervous system injury. I need to do a lot of work to calm and soothe my own nervous system. So these are oils are just a part of my daily ritual. So because we're here, hang on one second. Okay. So a yoga practice, you are most welcome. A yoga practice for before bed. So what are some of the practices before bed that helps? Well, a calm or restorative practice, a restorative heart opener. So we have a YouTube practice with that over a bolster, eyes soft and breathing, and forward bends. So bringing yourself forward. And let's just try a very simple, very adapted practice right here. So I'm sitting on the floor, so I've got an easy position here. So I'm bending my knee. A forward bend is characterized by a flexion at the hip joints and bringing the legs and the torso closer together. So I've got my knee bent here, and just to protect my spine and support myself, I'm going to take one fist and stack it on top of the other and bring my forehead here. And closing my eyes, and you can join me if you're sitting in front of a desk. You can just quite simply stack your fists and rest your forehead on top. And let's start taking some breaths here so you can see me better. So this is when using essential oil helps because you're in this closed space. So you can be availing yourself to the soothing scent. Feeling the pressure on your forehead. Feeling the pressure of your thigh, maybe, or both thighs against your abdomen. Maybe you want a pillow between you and your desk. Now let's add the soothing sound of with the lips closed and the teeth gently touching. If you have jaw issues or tooth issues, you might not want your teeth to touch. Let's do that 2 more times. One more. And let's take 3 more 4 6-count breaths, inhaling for 4 and exhaling for 6. And then when you finish that third breath, release the head from the hands from the head. Let the eyes remain soft or closed. Come into an upright position. Just noticing here if perhaps the mind feels a little softer, a little quieter. And when you're ready, slowly, gently allow the eyes to find the horizon. So, how do you feel after that simple practice of just massaging the forehead and using that soothing sound of Hopefully calmer, quieter, maybe even there are not words to describe how you're feeling. So imagine if you did several postures like that, where you were kind of in that forward position, that calm, quiet position, and using sound. And a blend that I really love to diffuse, I was diffusing a lot more, especially related to the trauma and the nervous system injury, was this blend of copaiba, blue tansy, and frankincense, just 2 drops of each in the diffuser. And I have heard that aromatically, because the drops, the molecules are going into the air around you, that it may be that you're actually receiving more of the benefits from smelling the oil as it's diffused, because it's a longer term exposure to the oil than, say, like rubbing it on and then it evaporates. I think the research is still out on that. So, a meditation practice. 2 hours, 1 to 2 hours before bed. So meditation is a really challenging practice, and no one understands that better than me. We all started somewhere, and most of us start without a meditation practice. So what I've included here is 2 tips for using a mantra meditation and a visualization practice, and to make the meditation a little more accessible. And yes, Yoga Nidra is a meditation practice as well, so Yoga Nidra could be included on here. Somebody asked me recently whether or not you could do Yoga Nidra before bed, and did that interfere with sleep. I have not heard that. I've not seen it written anywhere, nor have I heard that anecdotally. So in my experience, the answer is no, but then I don't know. I can't answer that question. Somebody has probably had that experience if that information is out there. So mantra meditation. Mantra is soothing the mind. It's calming to the mind and helps to focus the mind. And Shanti is the Sanskrit word for peace. So you could quite simply inhale and then exhale out loud. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So if you want, you can try it with me. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Let's do that 2 more times. Shanti, 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 Shanti. It's as though we're calling in peace. Calling in peacefulness. Calling in a calm mind. And in all of the research I've done on mantra, it says that when it's said aloud, it's powerful. When it's said quietly, where basically no one can hear you, but you're still mouthing the words, it's called upamsham, which looks and sounds like this. So you can't hear any sound, I'm not making any sound, but I'm mouthing the words, is said to be more powerful, and then the repetition in the mind is even more powerful. And one of the things that is contrary to that I've been experiencing lately in my mantra meditation practice is that chanting out loud, it's creating a specific vibration, and maybe it's just not being strong enough in the mind yet, don't know, but creating a specific vibration that actually creates a geometric pattern out of sound that which we would call a yantra, you would see it, which then calls in that energy with greater strength than if it's done silently. So that's, I'm sharing with you my personal experience with my own mantra meditation. You'll have to play with your own mantra meditation, but the sound is nice and soothing. And while we're on the sound, I'll share with you, I did not make a slide for this, so I apologize for that. You have your lymphatic fluid all throughout the body, but Ayurveda has known about the lymph in the brain for thousands of years, and Western medicine just recently discovered, oh my gosh, you guys, there's this lymph in the brain. Well, it runs like a mohawk, so across the scalp, and it actually goes, there's little drainage points between the scalp, and it goes through the bone, because you've got a lot of, if you've ever seen actual bone, you've got pores there, so things go in and out there. And so the lymph is draining, and it drains in the brain. It actually drains through the nasal passageways, which makes nasal breathing a really important part of sleeping, and I'll get there. But one of the things that we can do to help release the lymph clogging in the brain can interfere with your sleep and can also cause anxiety and depression, is to just simply massage your scalp. And you just massage in that area of the mohawk. And I was talking to Dr. Douillard, Douillard, who runs and owns lifespa.com. And he's the gentleman who introduced me to this information. I asked him, what about using sound while we're doing this? Do you think the sound vibrations would help release? And he said, he thought about it and said, yeah. So you could use that, or even better would be the sound ng with the back of the tongue towards the back of the throat, like at the end of the word ring. So you're making sound and massaging your scalp. I have a medicated oil I put on my head from Ayurveda, and I just put it on my scalp, and I just kind of get my fingertips with the oil, and I just rub it into my scalp. So you could do that with something like a lavender oil and fractionated coconut oil. A castor oil is really nice on the scalp and helps your hair get nice and thick and grow healthy. So you could mix those two together and put that on your scalp before you go to bed at night to help you sleep. So another practice is a visualization practice. And you could do all of these. I mean, play with them to find out which one works for you. Inviting an image of yourself sleeping peacefully. And then we draw that in using the sound shamaya, and using a lavender oil or a peace blend again, as a ritual, that's going to help you, maybe one night you don't have the space or the time to do the whole practice, but you can smell the peace blend. If you've been doing this, it'll create and evoke the same experiences and feelings that you have when you do the practice. So you can join me here. You're just inviting an image of sleeping peacefully, imagining sleeping peacefully, the feeling of sleeping peacefully, whatever works for you. And then we inhale the arms out in front of the heart. We pause here, sustaining the breath on the inside to connect with that visualization. And then we use Shamaya to bring the hands to the heart. Let's do that 3 times. Inhale the arms open, pause, retain the breath, and visualize that sleeping peacefully, however it shows up for you. Shamaya. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, embracing that image of yourself sleeping peacefully. Draw it in. Shamaya. One more time. Inhale, the arms open, embracing yourself, sleeping peacefully and with ease. Draw it in. Shamaya. And then giving yourself a rock, this image of yourself sleeping peacefully. It's here on the altar of your heart, available to you whenever you need to connect with it. And when you're ready, allow the eyes to open. So hopefully you feel a little calmer with that practice. So 30 minutes before bed, this is the best time to take your sleeping aids. So your magnesium in form of calm, your Serenity gel caps, and I'm going to talk to you about those in just a second because I just found out some really cool information about those. Your melatonin, doing your Nadi Shodhana, your alternate nostril or left nostril breathing. That's a picture of me in the Muir Woods in Northern California doing alternate nostril. Placing a drop of the Serenity blend in the palm of your hand and rubbing it over your pillows and your sheets. Diffusing lavender and petitgrain as you go to sleep is really wonderful. Lavender with vetiver is really nice as well. Put lotion on your feet. So the act of touching your hands to the soles of the feet, they're the furthest parts, the body, parts of the most distal, it's called, the furthest parts of the body away from each other and from the nervous system. So touching them together is actually really soothing. And then add balance blend or peace or serenity, spikenard or lavender to your lotion, 1 drop, that helps bring it into the nervous system. And spikenard, which is called jatamansi in India, jatamansi is the herb in India to use for sleeping at night. So spikenard, like just 1 drop on the soles of the feet. I've seen it prescribed on several occasions as, to help somebody go to sleep at night who's really been struggling. And that's an Ayurvedic prescription. And then to read something calming. So not necessarily your textbook or something inspiring and invigorating, right? Something inspiring can be invigorating and keep you up at night. So nighttime reading, that would be the best time to read those trashy novels. This is what I like to read before I go to bed, is something that requires 0 thought process from me, helps me to kind of shift my focus away from my day to going to sleep. So for an alternate Anadi Shodhana practice, left nostril breathing is the best, where you're inhaling and exhaling through the left nostril. So you would take with your right hand your index finger and your middle finger and drop that to the base of the thumb. Ring finger and pinky finger are extended. I love a little drop of the Breathe blend and just put it in the palm of my hand and kind of rub it there. Because then, it's got eucalyptus is one of the big ones, lemon, laurel leaf, cardamom, and tea tree oil in it, and so it kind of opens the nasal passageways and can soothe the throat as you're breathing it in, especially if you have any kind of congestion going on. So, and if it's right here in the palm of the hand, you keep breathing it in. So you just close, you can go back and forth, and we've got an alternate nostril video for you, or you can just simply do left nostril breathing. So your thumb is closing off your right nostril, and then you're inhaling through the left nostril, exhaling through the left nostril, inhaling, and exhaling through the left nostril. You make it even easier on yourself by lying down on your right side with your pillow and having your thumb in place, and you can fall asleep. Beautiful practice when you wake up in the middle of the night is to do left nostril breathing. More on that in a minute. So Serenity gel caps, this are from exclusively from doTERRA, and I just happened to be looking for something else and found that they did a study. I had no idea they'd done a study with this. So they looked at 62 healthy adults with occasional trouble sleeping. They did a 6-week randomized double-blind placebo-controlled study with a 1-week washout period where no sleep aids were used. If they had been using anything, they were to stop using them for a week before they went into it. They took 2 soft gels every night, 30 minutes before going to sleep. And of the 51 people that completed the study, those that had taken the Serenity gel caps, there was a statistically significant improvements in falling asleep, balance and coordination upon awakening, ease of awakening, and alertness following awakening as compared to placebo and washout periods. And the gel caps contain lavender, L-theanine, lemon balm, passion flower, and German chamomile. I will share with you that a friend of mine said, "Hey, have you tried the Serenity gel caps?" And I had them, and I was like, no, because I really don't have a problem going to sleep on most nights with the MS. I'm just tired all the time, so I rest assured I sleep well at night. Or I go to sleep well and I sleep long. But I thought, well, why not just try them? I have them. Why not just try them? Oh my goodness. Why have I not been taking these for a long time? What I notice is, it didn't happen last night, and I have no idea why, but I've falling asleep with even greater ease, less work to refocus my mind. Most of the time there's a little effort there and training my mind, and then I fall asleep. But I'm also sleeping better during the night. When I get up to go to the bathroom, I'm able to come back to bed and go to sleep right away. And then again, that ease, I'm feeling more rested when I wake up in the morning, which is something that I have been struggling with for the past 2.5 years or so, is not being rested when I wake up. So there's my personal experience with the Serenity soft gels. I'm really enjoying those. And so what happens if you wake up in the night? Well, breathe. It's a great time to do a soothing breathing practice. So you can inhale for a count of 4 and exhale for a count of 6. Or you can try a breathing practice as recommended by Dr. Weil. Inhale for a count of 4, retain the breath for a count of 7, and then exhale for a count of 8. I mean, you're already awake. You might as well do something while you're awake. Um, you can do a mantra practice. So you might add mantra to your breathing practice. You're inhaling for a count of 4, and then Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. You don't have to say it out loud. You can just, so saying it in your mind as you slowly exhale. You can put on a Yoga Nidra recording. And one of the big recommendations from sleep experts is when you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't go back to sleep, get out of bed. When you get out of bed, go do something else, let yourself get tired, and then get back in bed, rather than lying in bed and trying to go back to sleep and feeling frustrated. And in this way, your bed is something that you only sleep in. It's not something that you lay there frustrated. And to remember too that the natural sleep patterns of human beings were to wake in the middle of the night anyway, and to get up and do stuff like tend the fire and so on and so forth. And if you're in a place where you have only the sun and fire as your natural lighting, and I don't remember how long it takes to get there, but you actually revert to that sleeping pattern where you go to sleep shortly after the sun goes down, and then you wake up in the middle of the night and you do stuff. And then you get tired and you go back to sleep and you wake up feeling rested. In fact, there's some research to show that human beings didn't even lie down when they slept in, Neolithic, prehistoric time periods, whatever they're called. Like they didn't, there's some, in, I think it was England, they discovered like sleeping pods where people actually leaned against the wall and slept sitting up, and lying down was something you did when you were really sick. So things have changed drastically since we've had light, and your DNA, your genes, remembers all of the ways in which you slept over time. So I hope that all of this information was of support to you. If you're interested in getting your own versions of the oils, or getting your own versions, getting your own oils, your own doTERRA Serenity soft gels, reach out to me, rose@yogafordepression.com. We can actually have a free 30-minute conversation. And with that free 30-minute conversation, we can determine what works for you and get you signed up and get you using the oils and get you established in a rhythm that really supports your sleeping schedule. And a comment, she's from the Northwest and moved to the East Coast 4 years ago and still doesn't feel like your circadian rhythm has ever adjusted. Yeah, I can see how that would be. And maybe your circadian rhythm is just going to stay what it is, and everything else in your life needs to adjust around it. That's what the reading suggests to me is, maybe in the Northwest you were an early riser, but now on the East Coast you were not an early riser. You're one of those later risers, and that's just your natural circadian rhythm. And yeah, I have traveled before and found myself, it's happened a couple times, it doesn't happen very often, where I don't adjust to the East Coast time at all. I stay on the West Coast time, and I'm in that experience where it'll be 11 o'clock in the morning, almost 12 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast. And I finally feel like I'm waking up, and I'm not tired until late at night, because for some reason my brain is not clicking over for whatever reason. I don't know what that is. So we can to adjust that. Again, I'm always offering free consultations for anybody who wants to use the essential oils. So you can sign up for one of those. Just email me, rose@yogafordepression.com, and we can set something up. And if you're watching this within the last week of August of 2019, then I offer a free gift for anybody who wants to sign up with doTERRA and get those oils. You have to sign up with me, not with somebody else. So if you want to sign up, get your own oils and get yourself on your own routine with yoga and herbs and so on and so forth. I'll help you with yoga. I'll help you with the essential oil part. Herbs, diet, exercise, nutrition. Somebody else can help you with that. I can certainly support you, but I'm not an expert in that arena. So feel free to email any questions you might have. Feel free to reach out at any point. And happy to serve you in any way that I can. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule, out of your busy day to be here with me. And I will see you the next time. And again, congratulations to our winners. Thank you. Have a beautiful rest of your day.